If you have ever installed an operating system, whether it's a Windows or Linux, you surely know that the first step is creating a bootable USB drive. For those who are not familiar with this concept of a boot disk, we will briefly explain its significance and functioning. Everyone else who is already familiar with this topic and wants to see how to create a boot disk with multiple operating systems on one USB can skip this part and move to the next segment. A boot USB drive is a device used to start an operating system or to recover a computer. Every time the computer starts, the operating system is loaded from the hard drive. However, if the hard disk is empty or the operating system is damaged and cannot boot, we need an alternative source. A boot USB is just that, a source from which the operating system is installed. To make a USB drive bootable, it is necessary to install the appropriate operating system using specialized programs. To create a boot disk, you first need to download the operating system, most often in ISO format. For example, I will download the ISO for Linux Mint. I will do this by going to the official website, clicking on download, after which I will have the option to choose the version I want to install. I will select, for example, the Cinnamon edition, which is the most popular version of the Linux Mint distribution. Next, I will choose a mirror, which refers to the server location from which I will download the operating system. The choice of location is important only if you have a slow internet connection. In that case, choose a location that is geographically closer to you to make the download faster. After downloading the file to create a boot disk, you will need some specialized program for this purpose. If you are using Windows, the best free and open source program for creating a boot disk is Rufus. If you are using Linux or Mac, you can create a boot disk using Belina Etcher, which is also a free and open source program. However, those programs allow you to write only one operating system to one USB. What if you want to try multiple operating systems and do not want to have a separate USB for each of them? Or you do not want to delete the USB you created every time a new version of the operating system is released, just to write a new version on it. Or you simply have a USB with a large capacity and you want to keep all the ISO files of the operating systems you plan to try on that USB. Ventoy is a free, portable and open source program that allows you to store multiple operating systems on one USB and lets you simply choose which one you want to install. You will find the link to download Ventoy in the video description. Additionally, you will also find a link to GitHub where you can view the source code of the program, as it is an open source project. The program is currently available for Windows and Linux. After downloading the program, you need to extract it as it comes in zip format. To do this, right-click on the download file and go to Extract All option. You will then have the option to choose the location where you want to save content of the downloaded file. I will choose desktop. If you do not select a location, the content will be saved in the same folder where the zip file is located. Ventoy is a portable program, which means no installation is required. When you open the folder where you extracted the contents of the zip file, you will see several files and folders. We need exe file named Ventoy to disk. Double-click this file to run the program. When the program starts, the first thing you need to do is select the USB you want to make bootable. If you have only one USB drive connected, Ventoy will automatically detect it, and its name will be displayed in the section below the text labeled device. If you have multiple USB drives, click on the drop-down menu and select the one you want to write your operating systems to. It is important to emphasize that the USB you select will be completely formatted, which means that all data on the USB will be erased. So be careful not to make a wrong choice or temporarily disconnect all the USB drives, leaving only the one you want to use. Also, it is very important to pay attention to the format that the disk will have after erasing. Upon the first launch of the program, the format is set to exFAT by default, which is the recommended format. This format allows you to save ISO files larger than 4 GB on the USB drive, and it's also suitable for all major operating systems, Windows, Linux, and macOS. If for any reason it happens that the format is not exFAT, you can change it by clicking on the option and then on Partition Configuration. As you can see, you have 4 options. First option is exFAT, next NTFS, Windows format that can be read by Linux but does not support macOS. FAT32, a format supported by all operating systems but have a file size limitation of 4 GB, which means you cannot write files larger than 4 GB. And UDF, Universal Disk Format, which is less supported on older operating systems and devices. Choose the format that best suits your needs and click OK. After you set the format of the disk, when you click Install, you will receive a warning that the device will be formatted and that all data on it will be erased. Click Yes to confirm your choice. The program will then ask you to confirm once more. Once you click Yes again, the formatting and creating of the boot disk will begin. When the process is completed, you will receive a message: "Congratulations, Ventoy has been successfully installed to the device." Click OK, close the program, and then you need to transfer all the ISO files of the operating systems you want to try or install to the USB drive that we just formatted using Ventoy. You will easily identify the disk as it's now labeled Ventoy and it's completely empty. Since I initially downloaded Linux Mint, I will transfer that file and then I will download a few more Linux distributions that I will also transfer to the USB. After transferring all the ISO files to the USB, restart your computer. Before the operating system loads from the hard drive, press the key that allows you to select the boot disk, which will take you to the boot menu. In my case, this key is F12, but it may be different for you depending on the computer you are using. In the new window, which should look something like this, select your USB drive and press enter. After that, you will get the Ventoy list, a list of all operating systems we have saved that are on the USB drive. Choose the one you want to install or test and press enter. For example, I will select Linux Mint. Linux, as an operating system, allows you to test it before installation. When the operating system boots up, you can try it out to see if you like it. If you decide to install it, simply click on the icon on the desktop labeled Install Linux. We will restart the computer again and attempt to boot another Linux distribution from the list we downloaded to demonstrate that our boot disk with multiple operating systems functions as intended. Thanks to everyone who took the time to watch this video. I hope you find it useful or at least informative.